Okay, hi, this is Barbara Mackey. Welcome to My Psychic World. I'm going to give you a little bio about myself today, and I think you're going to find it interesting. I think I'm interesting. I'm a psychic medium, clairvoyant, medical intuitive, pet intuitive. I do missing person cases, police work, homicides. I'm a DNA reader. I read what's in your body as far as the lineage that goes back so many eons ago. And when someone comes to me, I tell them their past and their future. If I can tell your past, then I know your future. Because something resonates. They're like, wow, you knew that my Uncle Vinny jumped out of a helicopter and whatever. The stuff that I say to them might seem insignificant to me because I'm just a messenger, but to them it really means something. So I started this work, I'd say maybe more than 20 years ago. And I've been doing it since I was a teenager, actually, but I started really doing it professionally in 1987. And I've been psychic since I'm 4, and I've had many experiences since I was a child, but I never recognized that I was psychic. I never talked to anyone about it. The first one that I had was when I was living in the city. We lived in this apartment, and it was a fire escape, and I used to sit on the fire escape and watch my mom hang the laundry. And I thought to myself, that landlady's going to hit my mom in the head. And she was sweeping, and she took the broom and hit my mom in the head, and the woman was suffering from postpartum depression. She beat my mother to the ground. They had to take her to the hospital. She had a concussion, but I saw this like a film in my head. And then there was an older boy that was summoning me into the alley, and I said no. And I don't know where that came from. And then we used to go to family gatherings, and they would say to my mother, Mary, why is your daughter so standoffish? She doesn't join in. She just sits there and she stares at everyone. What's wrong with that creepy kid anyway? So, they wanted to be affectionate with me. My uncle sit on my lap, and I was like, ugh, no. So, and I found out later they were pedophiles. Oh, boy. So anyway, I was an observer. I had many psychic impressions. I had an impression that my brother, I was driving in the back of an ambulance, and I said to my mother, my brother Richard's in that ambulance. And she said, that's impossible. He's in another town. I said, no, he's in there. And he was. They brought him to another hospital. My mother-in-law was having a heart surgery. I wanted to say goodbye to her. Everybody said, I'll see you later. I said, Helen, goodbye. And she knew what I meant. I went home, I put the black dress on the bed, and I got a call that she died. So it still wasn't resonating that I was having all these precognitive feelings. And then the neighbors started coming to me, and I was doing the Ouija board, and I was just saying things off the cuff. And there was a woman named Alita, and she was from Cuba, and she felt that people in the neighborhood were discriminating against her little boy. His name was Alejandro. And she said, someday what's going to happen to my little boy Chubby? She called him Chubby. And I said, they're going to eat their words because he's going to be very famous. He's going to be a lawyer. He's going to be in the White House and have his own plane. And then after I got a divorce, she was working in a store. And she said, Barbara, come here, what are you doing? I said, I'm a psychic. And she said, oh, wonderful, God bless you. I said, why did you say that? She said, my Chubby, my Alejandro, here's his card. He had the seal of the president, and he was a lawyer, and he had his own plane. And that really was like a gift of $1 million to me. You couldn't have given me any money to make me feel any better than that my work truly was changing people's lives, and that I could see 25 years into the future, but I don't dwell on it, because if I think about it, I'd go crazy. So I just do my work. Then I got a divorce, and I had this relationship. It was great. It was very romantic, something I never had in my life, and we were very close. And I had a dream, it was a couple days before Christmas, that I had to go to the hospital to identify his body. And I told him about it. And I said, the doctor and nurse were standing there motioning for me to come in. And they told me that you were on the gurney, and he said, that's ridiculous, I'm not going to die. What do you think, I'm going to die? So the night that he did pass, he was playing cards, he was eating pizza, and I went to see him, and I begged him to come home. And he stood up and he said, what is your problem? What do you think, I'm going to die? And I said, I'm going, and don't drive the car because you're drunk. And the last words he said to me was, take the keys, bitch. So I went home. I said to my son, Timmy, we're leaving. Mommy, it's Christmas. Where are we going? I go, don't worry about it. We'll find a place. I'm not tolerating another drunk. So I get a call like 2 o'clock in the morning. They tell me to come down to the hospital. And I said, what's wrong? And they wouldn't tell me. And I jumped out of that bed. I took Timmy with me, and I was screaming all the way to the hospital. I was screaming, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. And I walked to the door, and the doctor and nurse were standing there, and they said, come in, come in. And I was like, this is a replay. And they said, we're sorry to say that he has died, and he's on the gurney. Would you like to identify his body? I didn't want to live. I thought, why didn't I save him? Why couldn't I save him? And then I went to 2 psychics, the Reverend Helen Williams and Edith Cantor, and they were older, and they were my mentors, and they said, you're going to do this work. And I said, I am not doing this work. It's too awesome. It's an awesome responsibility. They said, you've had the gift since you were younger, and when we pass on, you're going to carry the gift. So once a week, I would go to Trenton, New Jersey, and drive Edith with me, and go to Helen's house, and she'd have her dog, Butchie, and we'd knock on the door, and she'd go, open the goddamn door. And she was very spiritual. She was. And she'd say, Barb, go get me some Kentucky Fried Chicken, and go get Butchie some food, and while you're at it, make us some tea. Okay. So we sit around the big table, and they test me. Okay, do straight readings. Do the cards. Isn't she good? Isn't she good? And I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm in sales. I sell screws, nuts, and bolts. No. You're going to be doing this. And I was like, oh, do I have to? So I did it. I sold everything that I had. I sold my paintings, my jewelry. I said to God, what should I do? And I heard this voice, and not that I'm crazy, like a voice. Not a real voice, but like, I don't know how to describe it, like a thought. And it was like, do what you do best. And I did the readings, and I've been working very diligently, very hard, with integrity all these years. And I also manifested a lot of things. I said I was going to have my own TV show one day. I was going to have my own radio show, which I do with CBS Visions. And they told me I was going to be worldwide known. Well, the show that I do is worldwide radio. And I would be in the newspaper and all these things. And I manifested it myself. So I said to myself, one of these days I'm going to do that. So I've done murder cases. I've traveled out of state. You name it, I've done it. And people come to me from all over the world. Actually, now with the internet, I get people from China and England and Scotland, excuse me, and it's just a worldwide thing, and it's a grand life, but it's very tiring. You can faint sometimes from the energy that you get from another person if the energy's bad. So this is a little bio about myself, and I'm very lighthearted. I love to laugh, and I love to make my clients laugh when they come here. They cry because I do some channeling, but I make them laugh, and I say, now stop that. And one story in particular, I read for this girl. I think this is really funny. And she was crying. Oh, my boyfriend left me. I said, oh, shut up about your boyfriend. Can you pay your rent? That's the most important thing. She was like, I love him. I said, yeah, okay. Listen, he's going to marry somebody else. He's going to have a baby. Oh, no. I said, oh, yes. So she started crying again. I said, I'm going to give you shock treatment in a minute. You're going to wet your finger and stick it in that plug if you don't shut up. And she started crying more. And I said to her, listen, you're going to find someone in 2 months. His name is Brian, and you're going to get engaged. Voila, it happened, and she was engaged. So I don't know everything, but I know some things. And that's my psychic world.